So the city election is coming up soon, and there's a lot of conflict going on, whether it's with the flood, property taxes, and there's over, I believe, 20 candidates right now running for city council. So what I did is I invited somebody that I know and heard a lot of good things about through friends and family, and I finally got to meet him in person, and we actually met a couple times and we talked. And I finally was able to bring him to this podcast. He's overqualified for the position, and I know it, and the people know it. Is the only thing that he's missing is to get to know him, the exposure, and that's why I wanted him to come in this podcast, introduce himself, and get to people to know him so they can vote for him because he is the right guy for this job. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce Saeed. Saeed, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Simon. Good to be here. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here with you on a Friday evening.
Yes, absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. It's good to hear from you, and it's good to see you again. I came into a couple of your events, the fundraiser, and I came into the volunteer event the other day, and I just seen how people were happy and excited, and everybody wants you to be there, and that's one of the things that I wanted to do is bring you on to this podcast. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of new people that don't know you, you know, beside the people that knows you. The people that know you, they already know that you qualify. So just give me a small description about yourself, a background, who you are, and yeah, I just want to get to know you.
Sure. Real brief. My name is Saeid Alawathi. I was born in Yemen, came to the United States in my early teens. I'm a married man with five daughters, and that's a blessing. I graduated from Fortson High School in Dearborn. And then after graduating from high school, I went on, got married, had a family, wasn't able to stay in school. I later went back to school and completed my degree in business administration and in accounting. I really have, dedicated my life to public service and to the betterment of my community and my city. I have worked in different forms of campaigns, ranging from political campaigns to campaigns geared toward community services. Uh, I have and I still am sit on various board of directors and founding member of different organizations such as Islamic organizations, social organizations, recreational organizations, leadership, and many other humanitarian cause initiatives. Within the last 2 years, I have put a lot of time into working during the census campaign to make sure that our community efficiently be counted and be you know and encouraged people to make sure they fill out their forms, make sure that people had opportunities to even work with the Census Bureau. Just more recently, I was very involved in the community with assisting people with COVID testing. It wasn't just me, I also pulled in my wife, who is a medical assistant, and my daughter, who is a nurse. And we coordinated and tested over 20,000 people citywide in many different organizations. Uh, little bit more recent, I helped with people getting vaccinated, whether it's sending people over to DMC, telling them they can get their vaccination at Access, and in fact, we do vaccinations over our Masjid al-Salam center every Wednesdays. Uh, and now after the flood that we all know and heard of, if you're not one of the victims, I was able to have the opportunity to help some of the residents, taking out their furniture, their appliances, cutting drywalls, whatever they needed help with. And that's just a little bit about me.
I'm telling you, it's even though it's a little bit, there's a lot much more because I attended
Like,
I attended the fundraiser event and people there they came in and they said, "Hey, this guy came in the rain, helped us out with so many things, whether it's taking out stuff out of their basement when the flood happened. It was so many stories and it was so amazing. It's just there's too much, which that's why I was saying before we even started, this guy is overqualified. He is the guy that we've been looking for, you know? And even though he comes in from a Yemeni family, but he's not just doing this for the Yemeni people, he's also doing it for everybody, So,
yes,
and plus he comes in from a business background, he does accounting. So he already has that mindset and he understands how the numbers works, how the business work. Because at the end of the day, the city council, you have to run it like a business, and
we
that's
do.
why Saeed is a perfect candidate. Now let me ask you this: as you know, since we're talking about the flood, what are your thoughts on the flood and property taxes?
Oh, that's a very sensitive issue that we have going on nowadays. But the flood really, really affected many people within our city. So many, particularly in the east and south of Dearborn. And it's so unfortunate to hear why we had this flood. Because, we hear about, 13 water pumps are settled in on the west end of Dearborn and only two on the east and south end of Dearborn, which makes people feel uncomfortable whether they live in on the west or east or south. It just seems to be that the structure that that was put together just didn't make sense. And what makes it worse is what we know is the south and east is on a lower sits lower than the west side of Dearborn. And so I'm trying to understand how that was planned out. And I recently reached out to the city engineer, and I had asked to get his contact information so that I can sit with him, and try to get a little better understanding why we had this flood and how it can be avoided. But that hasn't been able to happen yet. But what bothers me most is the fact that we've had two floods prior to the 2021, and we spend so much money on the CSO project, and it didn't resolve or didn't solve the issue or the flood issue. So I want to learn about why are we having these, you know, tragic floods that affects us this bad. I mean, we've had people had water in their homes 4 to 5 feet high. They've lost
It's crazy.
everything they've had, and that's very devastating, for somebody to wake up the next day and see that their home, the condition of their home is where it is. I'm really looking into finding out exactly what can be done. First of all, what have caused all these floods to happen, and then try to come up with some sort of a solution to solve our problem, because this can happen tomorrow or next month. As you know, we actually had a flood last Friday as well. It wasn't as bad, but I know
Yeah,
my house flooded. So this
yeah.
is something that I really want to invest, some of my time into figuring out how to resolve this issue.
Okay, that's amazing to hear. Let me ask you this: as you know, right now you're running. If you happen to win, okay, what kind of changes are you gonna do to make sure this doesn't happen again?
The changes I would like to make sure that gets done is we definitely don't want to have another flood. Whatever it takes, whether it's even to hire an outside contractor to help us figure out why are we having these floods, and then, like I mentioned earlier, try to find a way to solve this issue. But I'm pretty sure it's going to require a lot of help from the federal government as well as the state because Dearborn budget isn't going to be able to cover the infrastructure that I think that needs to get done. So definitely work with the state and work with the federal government to try to help us fix this water and sewage infrastructure.
That's amazing. That's good to know. Beautiful. Thank you for making it simple, clear, and to the point. Now, obviously, as you know, um, people are a lot of people don't know how to register to vote, and how can people register to vote and where they should go if they want to vote for you this August 3rd.
It's really really simple, and I know a lot of I know many people know they can go online to the Michigan website, Michigan voter information website, and they can register there to vote if they're not registered. They can request their absentee ballot if they wanted to. And I think the deadline for the absentee ballot to be requested is probably this Monday coming up. Uh, but also having the opportunity to be able to go vote early. And this has been since June 21st that anyone can walk into the city administrative building and ask for their ballot to vote. They're open 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Even if you're not registered, they can register you on the spot, give you the ballot on the spot. You can select your selections, who you're voting for, and give it right back to them right on the spot. It's really really easy. And of course, on August 3rd, for those of us that want to wait until the election day, we can go into our precinct and vote. It's really important to make sure that every person, male, female, to go out and vote. Please, I urge you to vote. And to vote, I don't really mind who you vote for. It's just that it's very important that you go out and vote. Practice your civic uh, member.
Absolutely, that's very humble to say, and that's very kind too. Just encouraging people, and this is the type of guy Saeed is. Instead of saying, "Hey, go out and vote for me," he'll say, "Hey, go out and exercise your right. I don't care who you vote for, as long as you vote." So that's a really amazing to hear. And now, before I end this podcast, Saeed, do you have any advice that you want to give our youth?
Anything that I want? What? I'm sorry.
Do you have any advice that you want to give our
You
youth?
cut off. Our youth, our youth is our future. I want to encourage them. I want to make sure that they know that they need to continue and stay in school. Make sure that you're able to get the highest level of education possible. Make sure you're involved in your community, whether it's a social capacity or political campaign. Like you, I'm sure you can join any campaign that's going on right now. Anyone is welcome to come in and join my campaign. You can learn a lot. Believe me, you can learn a lot and stay engaged within your community and just explore as much as you can to learn from. And also, volunteering is just so important. You're serving your community, and which I don't like to talk about myself, but I've been blessed to have the opportunity to volunteer on different capacities for the last 25 years. It's really hard for our community members to volunteer in any capacity, but I encourage the youth because, like I mentioned, you can learn a lot, wallahi, and you can also help many unfortunate, they don't have the ability, they don't have the finances, they don't have a lot of things that we have. So you can certainly make an impact when you're volunteering, whatever organization, anywhere that you feel comfortable with.
Absolutely. And I just put up the link on the side while you were talking for anybody that wants to join and help Saeed win this election. You can vote and you can donate to his campaign by going to votesaeed.com, which I am going to put right here real quick. Let me just get it. There you go. Okay. Um, Saeid.com. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to him. He has a great campaign, volunteers and manager. They'll be able to reach out to you as soon as possible. If you want to volunteer, I know there's a link there. Send out to. I think I still have it from yesterday when I attended, so I'll also put it on the description. Saeed, thank you so much for taking some of your time. I do appreciate you. Great information. I wish you best of luck in this election. You 100% got my vote whether you were here or not. I heard a lot of good things about you. I know you're the good job. It's not, I mean, I know you're the right guy for the job. And it's not because,
I
your
appreciate it.
personality or any of that. It's because you're a humble guy, you're helping the people, and you've been doing it for a very long time. This is just giving you a title, you know? So I look forward to seeing you win. And let's get this done. Do you have any last thing that you want to say before we go?
Uh, Please go out and vote, and go out and vote as soon as you can. Don't wait. You don't have to wait till August 3rd because you might be busy. You might be not feeling well. You might forget. You might be traveling out of town, whatever the reason may be. If you have the time, sometimes next week between 8 and 5, go ahead and take care of it. One last thing I want to say is thank you to all of those that are supporting me. And for anyone that has any question regarding how to vote or any other questions about my campaign, they can reach me on my personal phone number at 313-632-1222. Thank you, Simon.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. And I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully in the future. I'll be definitely volunteering with you guys. So I'm definitely going to see you around. Thank you so much for being here. And you have a great night. And have a great night, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
have a
Do the
good day.
same.
Yes,
You too.
absolutely.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Take care.